Okay, now we have flipped to using the computer instead of the phone. Let's move the phone out of the way. And we were looking at this right here. We're starting to look at the Afrika Korps books. I want to see if there's anything on the tankers, on the tanker guys. Pioneers, artillery, Unteroffizier, Panzer troops. Yeah, like this guy right here. That's what we're going to do with this guy. He's got a light colored shirt. Except this one doesn't have a light colored shirt. This has the a darker one. You know, they fade and stuff like that. And with the black little Panzer hat. So all right, let's move this out of the way so we don't run into an issue with that. Get the light on. Let's get the thinner brush and put some of the finishing touches here on his uniform. Cuffs rolled up. You know, for cheap brushes, these brushes really are very good. I've been really happy with these brushes. These, I don't even know what size liner they are. The size doesn't really matter. The important thing is that they're a liner. All right, so now we're ready to do his face. I don't want to use this until we're doing like some really fine details. Let's get rid of this. This is, we don't want to run over this cord. And this phone's charged all the way up. Anyhow. All right, so we're going to mix our blend, our facial blend, which is red leather, sunny skin tone, wherever it is. I'm trying to see, this is the range of at the end of where I can see. Nope, that's gold. Sunny skin tones here, black and white. That's the colors that we use. That's the colors that we use that we've been really successful with and happy with the results for many, 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 many years. Now we're going to get some of this red leather. We're going to paint all the skin in this color right here. And like I mentioned this morning, I'm probably at some point going to get 2 more Fs, 2 more Cs, and those will all not have a hatch open. You know, because really only want like the platoon leader one have the hatch open. Just for variety, it doesn't mean anything. You know, if you're crew exposed in the vehicle, there'll be a crew exposed marker. Or a buttoned up marker if you're buttoned up. Like I said, we're going to have his cap. We're going to leave that in black. It'll be faded, but this guy we're going to place most of his body because this guy's going to be sitting on something like this. He's going to be sitting on the turret. Actually, I'm going to put him on the one that has the turret overhang. Because if he falls, he's okay. And then this guy will go in this one. Yep. That's how we're gonna roll those. All right, we dry yet? Okay, we can start working on this. So add a little bit of red leather to it. No, we we already need to start using the detail brush. Start mixing some sunny skin tone in. Now, the best looking, in my opinion, the best looking tanker's uniform. I think these Afrika Korps tankers look probably the best. And number two is probably the British in the desert. I think the British in the desert look pretty good too. Way down at the bottom is American. The stuff that the Americans wore was just god awful. Hey, they didn't get to pick their uniform. And then we're going to add more sunny skin tone to this. Now we're going to take this color, where we're at right now, we're going to add a little bit of white to it. All right. So we know we're going to have to do the little rose around that. His hat is going to be, it has like a little triangle, like a little V on the front of it. So let's, we got the black, we got the white. Let's go ahead and shade his little field cap. It's already painted in black, so we don't have to do that. Let's add a little bit of this white to lighten it up in certain areas. And then we're going to go grab Old Rose, like a horse. Go ride old Rose. I'm definitely going to need my glasses to find it. It's all the way up against the wall. It's this one, isn't it? Yep. Because the piping color on the Panzer troops is pink. Now we'll grab the actual pink. What a well-behaved brush. What a well-behaved brush. Well, that reminds me to check on one thing. Let's see if I can get away with doing this. I'm not going to paint the little brown, the real black circle. And inside that white, we need to put a little red dot. I've done these before. But it's not too big of an ask. There we go. Okay, I think that'll work. Except we just have to put some hair on them. Oh my god, this brush is in terrible shape. I didn't notice that until now. Let's see how this guy looks up close. See if I can take a photo of this. Let's try pro here. Whoa. That's not really working. There we go. Man, I really like doing figures. I really do. I think this guy's done. Let's put some, let's put a clear coat on him. Matte varnish. Just for yucks, there's a spot on here. This is flat coat. And we are going to seal this one with flat. Let me go ahead and just go over that. There's a couple of spots here that are shiny. A couple different things. Even though we're going to go over it with the airbrush, so to speak. Okay, we're going to let this guy dry. And he's going to fit in the Panzer II-C. This other guy, where's the stickum for him? bury his boots in there. The boots aren't really going to be visible. He's going to be inside the turret. We're going to go ahead and paint. We're going to need more of this color. Ooh. Well, luckily nothing happened. This is an old paint. Luckily nothing happened. Okay, well, we got plenty on the palette there. So let's do a couple things. Let's get a paper towel. Let's get a paper towel. I'm not going to try to recover any of that. It's pretty much irrelevant. Let's get a... Where's my needle? That's normally in here. Oh. It's funny, usually this happens on thinner paints. All right, that one's gone all the way through. And then we're going to put this back on here. I can probably count on one hand in 40 years of painting how many times something like this has happened. And this is probably actually the least mess of all of them because it landed exactly where it needed to. And this is a color, I'm pretty sure I never even used this thing. I bought this probably in the early 2000s. This is probably the first time I've used it for painting these guys. All right. So let's go back to... I think we got plenty of this stuff right here. All right, we're going to paint the pants and the shirt in this color. Let's clean this up so it doesn't look like I've been changing a diaper. And making a mess of it. Changing a diaper and making a mess. This cough that just won't quit. Now, he's going to have a lighter colored cap. I'm going to make sure of that. And the pants and the shirt, even though they're made out of the same core material, we're going to lighten one. We're going to add a color to one of them to make it start varying a little bit, so it doesn't look like he's wearing some kind of a jumpsuit or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and grab, this is probably as good a color as any. This pale sand, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding the pale sand now. And I'm going to paint his pants in that. Okay, and then the shirt, we're going to do the shirt the same way we did this last guy, color-wise. it's a great opportunity to do all kinds of different faded colors and things like that. It's unusual to find some of these Afrika Korps guys to have two pieces of clothing that are the same color. They could have been made out of the same material, but you know, you're wearing a different pair of pants. You're wearing pants that are new and a shirt that's old, or you know, vice versa. A cap you've had for 2 years and it's still faded from the sun and so forth. Jared, seems like you've had a bit of a lonely old night of painting. I did, but you know, you gotta paint whenever you have it available, because you could just be like, I don't feel like it, and then the night you don't paint is the night that everybody's there. So I am getting stuff done, which ultimately is the important thing. And we even had a situation. We had a blowout. We even had a blowout. Which I think has only happened like maybe 3 or 4 times in 40 years, so. Yeah, I went on the phone first and had a few people going. All of a sudden, like, it stopped. And I prefer to film on the computer, because you guys are getting a better picture quality than through the phone. As soon as YouTube realizes, oh, you're on a phone feed. Oh, okay. Well, you're not worthy. You only get 720p, or at least that was the case a couple of years ago. I don't know if they've changed that, but this is the 4th Afrika Korps tank commander. And this is literally the only thing keeping me from finishing the Panzer II. Because these all have open hatches, these two. So we got to put somebody in there. We just got done with this guy, which I wouldn't even bother showing you what it looks like, because it doesn't do it justice. But I did take a picture of him. And he looks pretty good. I left him with the the black Panzer cap from continental Europe. And you know, I only want like one guy in 4 to have a commander, just for a sense of scale. Really, that's the only reason. after these, I think we're going to go back to the Brits. We got some A13s we got to paint. Matildas. 2 Matildas and Valentines. 3-pack of Honeys. All kinds of interesting stuff. I think the first minis I ever owned were plastic 8th Army and Afrika Korps. Yeah, those Airfix guys. Those are beautiful figures. They paint up really well, too. They paint up really, really well. I was surprised. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite figures I painted is an 8th Army guy. You'll recognize these guys. These are old school Airfix dudes. In particular, this guy standing at the ready with his Enfield. I don't know what the name of the sculptor is, but he was freaking brilliant. Brilliant sculptor. Freaking beautiful sculpting. Yeah, skin tones on these guys just turn great, and the desert basin is just awesome looking. These classic 3. I mean, I've had these figures since 1981. So these figures are great. I've got the Desert Rats and the and the Afrika Korps. The Desert Rats, they got some guys you can't use because they're NCOs. Have stens. Like, okay, they might have used stens in North Africa, but it would have been like Tunisia. You're not going to use them in Operation Crusader. So I got some guys that have Tommy guns. And same thing with the Afrika Korps. The Afrika Korps Airfix figures are great, but they got the wrong submachine guns that they're carrying, you know? And almost everybody agrees that those Airfix figures are like the best figures that Airfix made of those two. I don't know whether the latest sculpts that the particular designer came up with, but they're very well loved. So, and yeah, I've had my set since probably 1981, something like that. And I never thought I'd paint them. Not because they weren't good sculpts, just because they didn't hold paint. I'm still a bit leery of using them, but we'll just be careful with them. And I probably have about a platoon of Brits and a platoon of Germans. So we got some nice variety. Now, in my head, just yesterday, does the math. Shit, 44 years. 1981. Or that's how long you've had them. Yes. I love how these figures turned out. I love how these figures turned out. It turned out like an oil painting. You know, like you know that the shorts and the shirt are the same color. I'm not gonna paint them the same color. Like it's like looks boring. It looks like you're wearing a freaking jumpsuit, right? You're gonna fade differently. You know, I mean, you got a hole in a shirt, you got a new shirt, or the other way around. You know, and I like painting things that for the audience look less interesting. So it's easy to make freaking Africa Corps look interesting because they do look interesting, but it's more challenging like to paint the British infantry. Like they're not that exciting. Man, they paint up well. They paint up well. Okay, what are we gonna do now? We're gonna do this. It's gonna do some fleshy bits. Yeah, I never had the 1/32 scale figures, the big figures. I always had these little guys, and they were marketed by MPC. They're Airfix figures, but MPC sold them in the states. I'm sure it was some way to get around paying taxes or some bullshit like that. But we never had Airfix figures. There was no Airfix in the United States, in my area of the United States in the 1980s. It was all MPC. And MPC didn't have everything that Airfix had. Like I never saw Russian infantry. I never saw Russian infantry by MPC. There was the Desert Rats. There was the Eighth Army. There was U.S. Marines. The German infantry, the Luftwaffe field crew, the U.S. Air Force field crew. Or is it NATO? I don't remember what it is. Or is it RAF? I'm sorry, it's RAF. U.S. paratroopers. I think that's it. They also made U.S. modern infantry with those Fritz helmets. That's what they call them. They got Fritz helmets. Now they're just Kevlar helmets. All those tanks are the 3D printed ones. They absolutely are. They absolutely are. And they're gonna ruin me because I'm gonna go back to doing ones that aren't 3D printed, and they're gonna look like ass. And they don't look like ass. Just these have more detail than a 35th scale model. These have just all kinds of eye candy. So there's nothing wrong with any of the other tanks that I have 3D printed by other. I mean, they're all the same 3D printer. They're just different designers. Just wait till I do these tanks, these 3D printed tanks, and we do Wintergewitter, and we're doing snow stuff. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, let's add a little bit more of the leather brown. they have an excruciatingly amount of detail. And there's a lot of stuff that he makes. He makes a lot of early war stuff, which I'm not big on, but I am thinking about doing some of his French tanks. Just saying. But his Shermans, he just released some Shermans a little while ago. And I don't know, 5 or 6 different kind of Shermans. Maybe even more than that. Now we go to the smaller one. You doing any World War II stuff, or not really? And if you are, what scale are you doing it in? Oh, man. We could almost go to bed, but at this point I'm like, no, we gotta get this kraut done. Krautski. Now we're gonna take this leather. Now it's too wet. Let's take this red leather. Still too wet. Damn it. With sunny skin tone. Just bought a bunch of Soviets in greatcoats, 28 millimeter. For World War II? Greatcoats, I would imagine, would speed up your painting a lot. I got quite a few Soviets in greatcoats from the Stalingrad range from Battlefield Miniatures that I got them right when they were released. 2002, something like that. There's this guy in Massachusetts that used to import them all. And I got one of every pack. It was a Stalingrad range. They made Germans and Russians, and I got one of every. I think I got one of every pack. If I didn't get one of every pack, I didn't get weird shit. That's the only thing I got. And a fair number of those guys are wearing greatcoats and look great. Great figures. But they're just going to have to wait their turn. Warlord. You know, Warlord, I get mixed up Warlord with Victrix because they both make sets at 28 millimeter and they're both plastic and they're both relatively new. I mean, Warlord's relatively new on the scene. I don't know, they might be out for 15 years. That's still pretty relatively new. Warlord Games probably reminds. I'm sure that I know Warlord Games is the case, but with Victrix, if that's a British company, they probably had some people that used to work for Games Workshop that worked for that place also. All right, now we're going to add. Probably going to need a new one. A little bit of white. All right, now we're going to do the cap. Now we're going to use the same color, but we're going to let's do this. Let's use this. Let's use the same color. Look, Ma, no hands. Not my preferred scale, but everyone here plays bolt action or chain of command 28s. If you want to gain, that's what you got to go with. I've never seen anybody play chain of command 28s. I've played chain of command either once or twice. It's got potential. It's got potential. Like I've said before, I'd probably play it. Or a modified version of it or something. If Face a Battle, if I hadn't encountered Face a Battle. All right, now we're going to take some of this Sandy, I thought we just put some of this in. There you go. And then we're going to continue adding even more of this sandy stuff in there. managed to drop about 600 US dollars on Soviets in Christmas. Wow. Vehicles too. I've heard that the vehicle rules in bolt action are terrible. But that's just hearsay. Now I'm going to take that color and I'm going to add a little bit of, now we'll add white to it. Okay. The old Rose out here. KV1, T3045, BT7, and Zis 30. Alright, let's get old Rose out here. We'll just get old Rose. And a little bit of black. So we're going to paint. Insignia on the shoulder straps. in the center of that should be a black dot with a white dot in the middle and a red dot in the middle of that one. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave him alone till in the morning. I want that to set, and then we can dry brush him. I mean, we can, I don't even know what the hell I'm trying to say. This is the guy that we're going to put here. Yeah, all the subtle different colorations on the tanks. Really happy with that. Oh, we're still not done. The hell's wrong with me? No. And inside that white one, we got a little red dot. Tiny little red dot. A red dot of unusually small size. You got a dot on your head? No, it's on my cap. Fuck, I'm bouncing all over the place. Hot damn. I just quit my day job. I need some help with some overhead. And there's something up here that's supposed to look like it's a fucking eagle. Let me show you. I am such a shitty picture taker. His face ain't great. What the hell happened to him? Yeah. got to dull coat them too. That'll straighten things out a little bit. He's like, oh, and the center dot's not in the center. Oh well, it's close enough. That's freaking tiny. But you know what? It makes a difference. You can see that at a distance. All right, let's even straighten this clown's face. That's better. That's better. Yeah, it's blurry, but and then this guy will end up being like so. Whoops. No more accidents, please. And who's this black guy sitting back here? Well, it's bloody Rommel. Yeah, I got one thing that I learned from doing these guys is I'll paint my own insignia on these guys instead of waiting who knows how long. Just some great stuff. Great stuff. So that's where we're going to stop for the night. And then tomorrow, when we get home from work, I can probably seal these guys. I'll seal this guy by himself tomorrow morning. And we got 6 pans. We got 6 pans of 3s, 2 pans of 2s. So, wish the antennas weren't like forced down, because there's just, I like when you put the antennas up. It just gives you something else to, another third dimension. So, yeah. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys